It's now time for Energy Insights, where you get an inside view and local perspective of all the oil and gas progress going on in the Mid-Ohio Valley. This program is brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association and can be heard every Saturday at 9 a.m. on WMOA AM 1490, FM 101.3, JAWS Country FM 100.9, and ESPN Radio AM 630 and FM 92.9. Here's Johnny Wharf, your local host.
Energy Insights on a Saturday morning. Johnny Wharf with Mike Chadsey. He is the Director of Public Relations with the Ohio Oil and Gas Association. Main location, Columbus, I assume, Mike?
Yes, sir, it is. Good morning, everybody, and thanks to our partners and friends at SUGA for sponsoring this program, and look forward to the conversation today.
Yeah, it's so nice to be able to learn a little bit, meet new people, even though you and I are doing it over the phone right now for obvious reasons. But talk a little bit about, let's for now skip the last 13 weeks and talk about when you got into the business of the Ohio Oil and Gas Association, and then the big play with the shale drilling. And were you in this position at that time when everything started clicking?
Right. So you want me to go down memory lane for a little bit.
Oh,
so I studied political science at Kent, kind of came up through state government, and I found energy when I was working in the lieutenant governor's office and really got a passion for it. So I started with the association really in a partnering organization early in 2011, and at that time we had about one permit from the folks at Chesapeake and Harrison County, and so none of this infrastructure had been built. The demand was still unknown. The supply was still unknown. Was this dry gas, wet gas, crude oil, condensate? We had one permit from one company, and I said, hey, I think this has got a bright future. I'm all in. And I've been here ever since.
So what about, where did the horizontal drilling part of it come in? I mean, was that something that was established when?
Well, you can trace that all the way back to the 40s and 50s. I mean, we drill vertically, we drill directionally, we drill horizontally. The genius was when George Mitchell, who was working down in Texas, probably at this point 20, 25 years ago, figured out that if you combine horizontal drilling with hydraulic fracturing, by God, you can do something pretty great. And so when they started sort of working on that and going to deeper formations, tighter formations in Texas, they really found something. And then sort of evolved and moved into places like Colorado and the Dakotas. And 10 or 15 years ago, it made its way to Pennsylvania, and some folks over there were exploring different things, different lateral lengths. And then it made its way to Ohio, again, 2011, 2012. And now, all these years later, we've got 3,000 some odd permits that have been issued in, 8 or 10 counties. And we really have seen a dramatic increase in natural gas production, bumping Ohio up into the top 5 in terms of natural gas production.
Yeah, and then in terms, this is a little shift in thought process here, but it's in the news. We see they stopped that Atlantic Coast pipeline, and for the listener who reads or sees that, how does that affect us, here specifically where we are in Southeast, or all of Ohio, I guess, for that matter, or the Shale Crescent region?
Right. Huge negative impact. And when we've been asked about that in the media recently, our easiest right off the bat is, look, no is not an energy policy. And they were, they, Dominion and Duke, were working on that for years.
Right.
Getting permits, working with local stakeholders, finding the right route to deliver Ohio natural gas down to the Carolinas for that growing economy down there. So it was going to benefit the Carolinas. It was certainly going to benefit the folks in Virginia. And was absolutely going to have a positive impact for Ohio for a couple of reasons. All of the workers on that pipeline, all of the vendors, suppliers, contractors, but let's take it even one step farther. All the landowners that were going to benefit by those royalties from the gas being produced on their property to go in the pipeline. And that's not going to happen now.
So what happens to, I guess, to what's been done? What's the next step there? Or is there one?
Well, the concern is the precedents, right? And so those who oppose oil and gas, particularly pipelines, are learning. They're learning you can't just stand on the corner and shout with a clever sign.
Right.
They're learning what lawsuits to file in what courts based on what arguments. They're learning how to challenge these permits. They're learning how to navigate the federal government, and just really simply in an effort to delay in the hopes of denying it. And that's what happened here. This was going to be a $5 billion project. You have a delay. Now we're at $6 billion. You got a couple more delays.
Right.
Now we're at 7 and 8. They weren't willing to make that commitment. That's a huge increase in price. And then you look at return on investment and things of that nature. So that's all they were able to do. They didn't win any other argument except the fact they were able to delay it in the hopes of denying it. And you even saw with the court decisions, the court said go. But there were these lower court decisions that were still tying up the process. And I think everybody knows they were going to win those. But how long was it going to take? And how much more would it add to the cost? That's the playbook from the activists.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about this from an advocacy standpoint. It'll have to be another program as we are out of time. Always good to talk to you. Our second program with Mike Chadsey. He is the Director of Public Relations with the Ohio Oil and Gas Association. Mike, thanks for your time, man. Such good stuff.
You bet. Now you got me all fired up and you're going to hang up on me.
I know.
Have a good one, John. We'll talk again soon.
All right, Energy Insights brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association.
Thank you for listening to Energy Insights, brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association. Tune in every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on WMOA Local Radio, JAWS Country, and ESPN Radio, as Johnny Wharf brings you your local and inside perspectives going on in the oil and gas industry right here in the Mid-Ohio Valley.